Now, last Sunday, we had a venting session together, and it went well. I can't thank everybody enough for calling in and pouring out their emotions. Today, it's going to be more of a heart-to-heart. We got to figure out who they are, what they're trying to be, what the hell is happening, because this is a disgrace, a dreadful series in Toronto. And it's funny because when the first inning of Game 1 went down, my mentions, they were getting blown up. They just needed to reset, get out of that series against Milwaukee, and everything will be just fine. Well, what about the other 26 innings where they sucked offensively? What about those? There were 26 innings outside of that first inning in Game 1. They sucked offensively in all of them. And now we have problems with Luzardo. He's getting smoked every single hit. Not little dribblers where you get unlucky. This thing is getting tattooed. And I had to listen to Rob Thompson postgame talk about how, well, he's not healthy. Or excuse me, he is healthy. He's not injured. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with his pitch sequence. He's not tipping pitches. Uh-oh. So you mean all the variables that you add up when something is going horrific, none of those boxes are being checked, so then what is it? And the fact that innings pitched this early in the year is being thrown around as a possibility, that's extremely disappointing. You know what? Let's listen to what Bo Bichette did to him earlier this afternoon. This is how it sounded.
Luzardo at the belt now dealing with Bichette. And he swings and hits one high and deep right center field. Marsh going back to the track, looking up. It's gone. Two-run home run for Bo Bichette, his 8th of the year. And it's a 4-run second inning allowed by Luzardo as the Jays lead this one 4-0.
Gross. Just so gross. We had to deal with Romano getting beat in the 9th yesterday. We had to deal with, how about this? I mean, just a typical Phillies center field misplay. Brandon Marsh doesn't want to run into Kepler. It slides awkward. I don't know what happened. The ball hit his glove. Atrocious. It makes me want to throw up every time I watch this team play. But this is how the Brandon Marsh nonsense sounded.
3-0 offer. At a swing and a fly ball left center field in the gap. Marsh long run towards the gap. Kepler as well. Marsh slides, can't get it. As it splits the outfielders, goes to the wall. The run is coming home. The throw to third, and Bichette is safe. It's a triple. And the Jays are on the board as it's a 1-1 game here in the bottom of the 6th.
All right, so now that we're about 4 minutes into the show and I said it's going to be a heart-to-heart, I may have lied. This just might be another venting session. I can't stand them. It truly pisses me off. Watching Stott, bases loaded, couldn't do anything. Watching Trey, bases loaded, couldn't do anything. Well, then you lost the game because your bullpen, they're a bunch of stiffs. How many times do I have to watch Weston Wilson in 1 week throw on the mound? I mean, that's a joke, too. It's crazy. Oh, by the way, here's a bullpen game tomorrow. And even if they do damage against Pittsburgh, whoop-de-damn-do. I mean, really, what do you want, a standing ovation? I don't care about the wins against Colorado, Pittsburgh, the A's, any of that trash anymore. You got to prove to me that you have stones, that you have balls, that you have something as a group. And I don't think they do. And it's going to constantly go back to the sequence of when Bryce Harper gets hit and everybody's sitting on their thumbs. I'm just saying, nobody did anything. They don't have juice. I'm aggravated. 215-592-9494. I need help. Maybe Shy can help us off or help us out and start off the show. I don't know. I need help. Shy, what's going on?
Brodes.
Yes.
Listen to me.
Hit me.
Breathe in through the nose.
I'm trying.
Out through the mouth.
I'm trying. There's allergies involved. It's getting rough.
No, I get it. But hey, I want to say it's a rough patch in the road in the middle of the season right now. I don't know how much I believe that myself. because I've been on here saying this team's not as good as we think they are. You need more players. Marsh cannot play. He just cannot play. You had a bad outing from Kepler. The guy's hitting, 157, if I'm correct? He's hitting horribly. I think it's time you got to call up Justin Crawford. Because if they're not going to play Rojas and Marsh can't play, I don't see the harm in calling him up at this point. I think it's late enough in the season where you can, and by the time the playoffs come around, you have a steady center fielder. Not saying the guy has to hit 300 because he doesn't, but I feel more relaxed with Crawford in center field than I do these two guys. What do you think?
I think it's desperate. Maybe it's worth trying at this point, but the more and more you bring up guys like that, and I understand you're in a position where I think it is at least respectful to put it on the table as a possibility, but the second you talk about bringing up the young guys and all, I think it closes the window of winning a championship now because of the journey it takes for guys to come in and to know how to win, to learn how to win, and it just takes a while to develop into a pro. So the more and more of the Justin Crawfords and any other name that we start throwing around, I just think that means you're farther and farther away from ultimately doing what we want. But then again, you're not doing it with Rojas and Marsh anyway, so what the hell?
I don't think we're doing it regardless this season at all. I think the window is closed, in my opinion.
Oof.
I think it's closed. Unless they can turn things around, and this is the last thing I'll leave on. I don't think this is a bullpen problem. They have showed year in and year out they can't hit the ball when it really matters.
Oh yeah, that's part of it too, Shine. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Oh, no doubt. I mean, they were built to hit, and if they're not hitting, then that's a major problem. That's a problem. But no, I don't want to say it's not a bullpen problem. Here's the reality of it, and here's the bad news. They have a hitting problem. They have a bullpen problem, and now what we thought was their strength, which is their starting pitching, we got to wonder what Aaron Nola is when he returns, what's going on with Jesus Luzardo. Sanchez has been fine and has been given 2 thumbs up for his grind because he'll be bad with his location, but he'll find a way to get out of a bases-loaded opportunity. But he's only going 5 innings, let's say, where in the past we've seen him be able to go 7, which is a huge difference. So I think you're in that weird spot where his numbers aren't brutal, but he's not eating as much as he should eat because his location is off and he's not as precise as he needs to be. So that's still a little wobbly. By the way, I think I combined 2 different sayings by saying sitting on the I think it's twiddling the thumbs and sitting on your hands. I think I did a combination of both, and it got very weird.
That's fine. You're frazzled right now. It's all blame the Phillies.
Can you tell I'm frazzled?
No.
Whew. It's unbelievable what this team does to me. And, I was listening to Jack on Find Out. He made a good point. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but if you go into the year thinking that they're flawed and have all these problems, then why the hell are you getting so worked up when this type of stuff happens? It's a great question. And it's because for a little bit of time, maybe I was hoping I was wrong. And I normally always go with I hold them to the standard that they hold themselves to each year. They're heading into this year saying, we are winning a World Series. So I'm watching through that lens because they think that's what they built, and they legitimately feel that way. You can get that sense when they speak, when Rob talks about, it's a long season, and Dave talks about, all the pieces he's trying to move around and this and that and trying to get help here and all this stuff. And he believes to his core that this group can do it. So I have to watch through that lens. And just to play the other side, when the Flyers are doing certain things throughout the year, what's their message? We're rebuilding. We're doing this. We're doing that. So when the deadline comes around and they're in a certain spot in the standings, they sell off assets and they try and gain more assets. They're rebuilding. So I'm watching them through the model of rebuilding. I watch the Phillies through the lens of what they're telling me they are. And they are telling me that they are a World Series contender. And when I watch them play, I see a team that's not even close. Not even close. So that's why I get irritated. It's because there are people who get paid millions of dollars to construct this roster. And their job is to watch and project. And they project this core to be great. That's disgusting that they watch this and think it could be great because there's clearly flaws. And there were clearly flaws heading into this season, and they didn't do anything but sit on their hands and twiddle the thumbs.
Got it that time.
That's
Got
right.
it that time.
Had to revive myself. Was that the right word there? I don't know. Phones, again. Let's go to Billy in New Jersey. What's happening, Billy?
Hey, Hunter, how are you?
Well, I'm feeling it tonight.
Yeah, me too. I just wanted to say these guys are cooked. Real quick, I don't see them winning more than 80 to 85 games. Maybe a wild shot at a wild card, and they're done. They cooked. They can't hit good starting pitching. The only time it seems to me that they can rally is when bullpen guys come in and they start tagging them. But, it's just they just don't hit good starting pitching. Ground out, pop up, strikeout. It's the same old thing, and I think the window is closed. Anyway, we had a conversation a couple of days ago. I'm going to follow the Flyers. This for the first time in my life. I'm 72 years old.
Let's go.
I'm going to follow them in October and bring on the Eagle season.
I love it. Billy, I can't thank you enough for chiming in. Following the Fly Guys, love that. You can start on June 27th at Chickies and Pete's at 7 o'clock where there's a puck-it-up draft party with Brodes. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, puck it up. Puck it up. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a lot of orange and black. Nothing like it. But the whole 80-82 wins thing, I think they're probably going to win more than that because there's a lot of bad teams out there. And they do have a roster that can win regular season games. But that's not what we're trying to do here. It's not. So they're going. I see them having a better regular season than Billy just mentioned. I think that they could be more than just the last wild card team because we've seen that they are capable of doing that. But they're not capable of really having the stones to win when it matters. And now we're starting to see the same problems, right? Bryson Stott, not as good offensively as he showed in that spurt, and he's going to have to be that if this team wants to win a title. Trey is not good defensively as a shortstop at all. Bohm couldn't be more irrelevant this season when last year he was almost a 100 RBI guy who was at the top of the National League when it came to doubles. Like he was tearing it up last year as a top guy, hitting doubles and the whole thing. Now, what does he do? Sure, he made a nice play over at third base. That's not really going to hide the reality of he is a problem right now. He's a problem. 215-592-9494. We are going to roll into the 7 o'clock hour here, rocking your phone calls. I see you lined up. I started off by saying we're going to have a heart-to-heart, but things unraveled rather quickly. This could be the venting session 2.0, actually, and I may have to go in that direction. 215-592-9494. Your phone call is coming up next, and is it time to make this change if you are the Phillies? I'll tell you what that is. It's Brodes. It's 94 WIP. I opened the show saying we'll have a heart-to-heart. We'll really connect on a deep level, discuss this team and what's wrong. But then you saw it turned into a venting session 2.0. So what really is the title of this program for the next 3 hours?
It feels it's going to be more of a venting thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what do I think it should be? It's going to turn into a venting thing.
Okay.
A heart-to-heart is almost like people accepting what this team is. I don't know if it's essentially going to be that. I think it's going to be more of a venting thing. If it was like a hard-fought loss, I think it could be a heart-to-heart thing where it's like, this guy, Trey Turner did great, Harper did great in the pitching, but we still fell short. It's like, man, does this team really have it, or are we lying to ourselves? That's where the heart-to-heart comes in. When they lose a nail-biter of a game to, the Braves or the Mets or something, that's the heart-to-heart. This is still another venting session because it was an awful game. I mean, it was over as soon as Luzardo gave up not even the 8th run, the 5th run. You could just feel that it was over and that they had no juice to them today.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I just tweeted out, change of mind 15 minutes in, venting session 2.0. Because this team pisses me off. I mean, I'm watching Weston Wilson again. There's no way in 6 days I get to see Weston Wilson pitch. Poor McAbel. He was the only one to show up this week. He pitched strong again. I got high hopes for his next go-around. I mean, he's got a killer face. I'm actually scared of him when he's walking off the mound. But this team, all jokes aside, was built off of really hitting, and then we've changed to starting pitching. Because when they put this thing together and formed it years ago, you got the big bad and Kyle, you got Nick Castellanos. They were built with this idea of a softball mashing type of 1 through 9. And then they realized that they needed to do other things and blah, 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 blah. Now, you know their offense is insanely inconsistent, so you can't really buy and lean into hitting only. Now they're super deep with starting pitching, but now their starting pitching is starting to fall off. Nola, setback after setback, it seems. Luzardo, they are lost and have no answers on why it's looking this way, and that's a problem. See, the Nola thing, at least there was a problem physically that we could understand and see the correlation on why he was having his awful starts. There's nothing going on with Jesus Luzardo right now. And now I'm starting to wonder with Rob Thompson asking him to eat all those runs in his last start, did that play a role in his psyche? Hey, eat all these ERAs up, please, if that even made sense. Eat up all these runs. Make your ERA go through the roof. Go ahead, eat up all these innings, please. The ERA goes from 2 to 4 in 2 starts. 4+. Wonder if that's messing with his confidence. Probably. I was screaming to get him out. Not this go-around, but the first time he started to get shelled. These pitches, I've never seen him catch this much of the plate so consistently, and they are getting roped every single time in the gap, every single time down the line, squared up perfectly. Now we have to wonder if the innings pitched is catching up to him. How many innings pitched does he have? I mean, come on, it's June. The calendar just flipped to June with this 4.46 ERA now. He's pitched. Where are we at here? Oh, no, I don't know. Oh, wow, these numbers are. Whew. So far, he's pitched 13 games, 72 and 2/3 innings. We're worried? Yikes. All right, back to the phones. Let's go to Travis in California. What's up, Travis?
What's up, Brodes? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. What's going on, man?
I'm extremely upset. The first thing I got a lot, but the first thing I want to say is just how Jack was mentioning, like, if you already knew that they had these problems, then why are you so upset? I think the reason we're so upset, even though we knew they had the problems, is because the problems were so glaring, and they just flat out ignored them, and it's the reason they're losing games again for, like, the 3rd year in a row. So it's obviously going to piss us off. Like, the fact that I can sit on my couch and watch games and see the glaring holes that they have, but the GM or president or whatever the hell Dave's new title is can't see it, is just, it's flat out insane to me, dude. I don't understand. After how last year ended, they needed to change things up They just needed to change things up. There was no way they could have just ran it back. And I know technically they didn't. They added Max Kepler, like, woohoo. But, like, for me to buy in again, they needed to change things up. They didn't. And I just don't know what we're supposed to be feeling right now. Like, the outfield is atrocious, and so is the bullpen. After Schwarber or Casti in the lineup, there's, like, 4 guys that just flat out suck. Marsh and Kepler would frickin' barely be starting on the Rockies, and here they are playing daily on a team that apparently has World Series aspirations.
Yeah.
Like, Dave has had 3 years to improve the baseball team, and he has not done it at all. You can just see that they have no juice. The players are tired of it, too. They all look miserable today. I know they don't look – no team exactly looks excited when they're losing, but, like, they just look miserable up there. Like, when they strike out, they just stand there with, like, this blank stare. They've needed a jolt now for years, and the front office just refuses. And now we're seeing that, like, they're interested in frickin' 55-year-old Aroldis Chapman, who's probably going to require a top prospect, when maybe if you just sign him in the offseason instead of ignoring it and signing Jordan Romano because he's a big bounce-back candidate, and Joe Ross, who was finally good last year for the first time ever, like, then you wouldn't have to trade prospects. It's a joke. They've needed a right-handed outfield bat behind Harper since 2022, and Dave just completely ignored it. He just signed another lefty that cannot hit over 220, and now he's interested in Cedric Mullins again for this deadline, who's literally the same thing. Like, I don't know, like, what to do. I don't know if he just has no idea what he's looking at. I have no idea what the problem is, but, like, they've done nothing to up their chances at winning a ring this year. If they run into the Mets in the NLDS, they have no chance. They can't hit lefties. They can't hit the Mets in general. And, like, there's nothing. I don't have any hope in Dave doing anything at this deadline to up our chances.
Nah, there's not enough.
Like,
it's too much.
He hasn't done anything the last few years for me to feel confident in him just suddenly being like, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to trade these top prospects to go get a big package. Like, I just don't see it happening. And then just lastly,
sure,
I don't understand why they can't call up Otto Kemp or Crawford. I understand Crawford's a lot younger, so it's a little risky. But, like, it can't get any worse than what the outfield situation is right now. The outfield is like a joke. Like, Rojas was mediocre, and they called him up when he was unproven, but they refused to call these two guys up. I have no idea why.
I think it's because
trade value.
When you do, Travis, and seriously, I really appreciate the passion and all the kind words. Thank you so much for calling in. I think when you do, and I mentioned this to a previous caller, once you go that route, it changes perception and it changes the vibe. And I think the moment you do that, you admit that you were wrong and you can't win a championship no longer, because who calls up Kemp, Crawford, and let's say they call up three guys because three of them aren't performing here at the major league level, center field, left field, now you're starting to plop in all these young prospects. Well, then you're pretty much admitting that you're not going to win a World Series. And that's probably why they're not doing it. Now, the pushback would be, well, you're not winning with Kepler, and you're not winning with Rojas, and you're not winning with Marsh, and I agree. Perception. Whether it's the fan base perceiving it a certain way, whether it's the players perceiving it a certain way. Think of it like this. I'm not telling you this is right. I'm just talking out loud with you. You're Bryce Harper. You sign here. You're promised the goal is to win. You sign your boy Trey. You get your boys Schwarber in here, and JT gets his extension. We know about the guys he pushed for, right? You bring in Nick as well. You looked at Bryce Harper in the face and said, we're going to put talent around you and major leaguers around you to try and pursue a championship. And now you're talking about Kemp and Crawford saving the day to help you do that? How do you think Bryce now perceives that move? Now, he may think Kepler and Marsh and Rojas are different than we do. He may think that we could win as currently constructed. So if you do go a different route and you do bring up inexperienced youth, now does Bryce perceive that a certain type of way? Forget how we feel. How do they feel? Now, I would like to think Bryce is a smart enough baseball mind to realize you can't win as currently constructed, but sometimes you're blinded by being in it. Sometimes you're blinded by what happened in 23, what happened in 22, thinking that this team is good enough and they just need to get, quote, hot at the right time. But that's a flaw in their mindset as it is. But you can get blinded when you're in the thick of it. Sometimes you need that 1,000-foot view. But I'm conflicted on the whole, where's Kemp, where's Crawford? You know what? You could probably sell me that's a route to go at this point. But not because I think it actually changes the trajectory of this. It's just because I'm sick and tired of watching Kepler, Marsh, and Rojas. That doesn't really change anything because I'm still going to be aggravated. And what I can't do is let them off the hook and then change my mentality that it's all about the growth of Crawford. So what, now I throw away my expectations just so I can see if the kid can grow and develop as a young 20-year-old? No. Because then that's what I start focusing on. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to focus on that because then I'm no longer screaming at Dave Dombrowski properly or screaming at anybody else in this organization. Maybe even the owner deserves a bunch of blame too. Just saying. He had that big piece on the Inquirer with Scott Lauber a couple of years ago about he got to strike when the iron's hot and this and that. And you missed it. You missed the strike. Dave Dombrowski has been awful when it's been time to strike. And to your point about the deadline and not having a lot of faith in Dombrowski, yeah, there's not enough juggling around that can happen at the deadline to save this. because they're not bringing in a big right-handed bat. They're not bringing in a legitimate center fielder. And, oh, by the way, here's 3 really strong relief arms. And even that may not be enough to save this thing. But that's what you need. You need a left fielder, a center fielder, a right-handed bat at some point in this lineup. Maybe the left fielder could be a right-handed bat. And then you need multiple bullpen arms. And by the way, you got to figure out what's going on with the starting rotation, because right now it's Wheeler and it's, I guess, Ranger. Sanchez has been fine. He's been battling stuff. His location's not the same. But, he's a beatable pitcher for sure, especially if you're talking about in a playoff series. So when it comes to, serious superstar power and what we called the best rotation in all of baseball, right now it's Wheeler and Ranger. Wheeler and Ranger. Wow. That fell off quickly, didn't it?
What's your main priority at the deadline right now? Is it bullpen and outfielder? Because if they trade for an outfielder, I'd almost guarantee that it's a right-handed bat.
A platoon
It'd be shocking if they went and got another lefty outfielder. So is it, I guess I'll narrow it down even more, bullpen, center fielder, or left fielder?
Probably bullpen.
I think so, too.
And guess what? Woohoo. Go get your Estevez. Go get a guy like that. And then what's that change? Because here's Romano in the 9th, vomiting all over himself against his former team when Hoffman sitting there on the other side. It's crazy. Dave in Lansdale, you're on WIP. Yo, Dave.
Yeah, what's up, Hunter? Yeah, I agree with what you said earlier. I gotta see them beat better teams to have some faith in them, especially beat better teams without Jose Alvarado. I'm starting to feel like all the wins against lesser teams, they did what maybe they should have done, but yeah, I got to see them, because I don't know, in the playoffs, they could beat the Dodgers, the Mets, or the Yankees right now. I'm just not feeling too confident.
And you shouldn't feel that confident. And our previous caller brought up the Mets, and here's the thing about the Mets. The last time we saw them, we got swept in Citi Field and looked like a little brother. I mean, that's unacceptable. So even if you do win a couple series coming up here against better opponents, I know the Cubs are coming up after Pittsburgh and whatever. I mean, that's all great, but I don't know anymore. They really have put me in a bad spot where I'm broken, and even their wins are starting to feel lifeless to me now. And that's a shame that they did this to me already, and it's early June.
Yeah, the Brewers series was tough. I really wanted them to win last night. I thought they had a good chance. And
think about that,
yeah.
Dave. You're right about bringing up last night. You win that game, and then this happens. Well, we'd be disappointed, and we talk about Luzardo and maybe what the future is for him, and can he get back into the right headspace, and can he physically figure it out and all. You're still winning the series on the road, taking the first 2 games after you had an embarrassing showing against Milwaukee. There's some things you can build off of that, but when your bullpen blows up in your face, which is part of your biggest flaw in Game 2, and then that carries over into Luzardo getting shelled, we saw every problem with this team show up in this series. Not a consistent offense, really bad center field defense by Marsh, bad bullpen, Luzardo question marks. Everything that defines this team showed up over the last 3 games, and it's just sickening.
Yeah, the offense feels pretty lifeless right now, but yeah, have a great night.
All right, thanks, Dave. I appreciate the call. The offense is lifeless. How are we supposed to get anything done when the offense is this flat, this out of whack? It's one of those things. When it's great, it's great. But is it great consistently enough? And spare me, and I love Jeff Kerr, by the way. He does an amazing job. I have him on here all the time. I'm just using his tweet as an example because he's a optimistic Phillies fan, which I wish I could be. I am jealous. I love Jeff Kerr. I think he's phenomenal at what he does. But he just tweeted out about how the Phillies offense over the last bit of time. I'm trying to look for this specific tweet because we were debating it in the group chat, but I'll find it eventually for you. Basically talking about how the offense scores runs at a clip that's about 6th in baseball. But when you watch the games, it just doesn't feel that way. And I don't care what some of the other teams are scoring like and the clip that they're scoring at and this and that. Does this team have a chance to win a World Series as constructed? No. Well, then that's all I care about. All right, here it is. The Phillies average 4.82 runs per game, which is 6th in baseball. But that doesn't move the needle for me, you know? Because we all sit here and watch every day. It's the same thing with Trey. Look at what Trey hit. Yeah, I know what Trey hit last year. I watch every game. The Trey numbers don't hit me the way the Trey numbers hit on paper. Same with Nick. Nick's batting average, Nick's play, it never hits me the way that his numbers hit on paper. I would never go back and redo that contract. But if you look at the paper and the box score every night, there's people who are probably enamored with what you get out of Nick Castellanos because it's, quote, not that bad. And there's actually a lot of value. And you put the value in all the crap that he swings at when it's the playoffs and he chases pitches off the plate out of the strike zone by 8 feet nonstop. You know, spare me that stuff. I can't do it. I can't absorb it. But some people do. And I respect that you can be optimistic in times like this. It's a huge character flaw of mine. I just want good baseball. It's my number one thing when it comes to this sport. Bad baseball is so hard to consume. It's so annoying. When your team is clicking, you know that stretch that happens where it's late July, maybe it's mid-June. Let's go mid-June because we're creeping up on that. Your team has won 8 in a row, and then you're excited when you wake up and the team plays at 7 o'clock that night. It's a big series maybe against the Mets. You're winning 8 in a row. They're winning 4 in a row. You got wheels on the bump. And that excitement to reach 7 o'clock for first pitch on a national broadcast. And the game matters that much, but it's only June. And it hits so hard because your team's playing so well. Let's say they win 2 out of 3. Now they're winning 10 out of their 11. And they're rolling to a road trip where they're facing the Cubs. They're going to Wrigley. Nola gets the ball to start the series. That stuff is the best. The best. But it is a kick in the you-know-what when it's the other way around. And right now, I'm feeling a sense that we're in this tough, brutal stretch that resembles the bad times.
This is a really bad stretch, though. Like, I don't really think... I don't know if I can remember a stretch last year. I mean, they had the second half that was kind of bad, and it felt like they limped right into the All-Star break, too. But to get just destroyed, get swept by the Brewers, and you lost, it was 17-7, but it was essentially a 17-2 game the entire time. To get beat that bad, today, like you said, we saw Weston Wilson twice in a couple of days here. That should never happen unless we were up by a billion runs. This is a really bad stretch where they're just losing games. Luzardo is getting touched up a lot. Wheeler didn't look good in his last outing. Like, a lot is going wrong. So much is going wrong. Even Andrew Painter didn't have a good night in Lehigh Valley last night. Like, it is just a really bad point in the season right now where I hope at the end of the year we can look back on this time and say, man, that, end of May into June was a really rough time, but wow, they really turned it on after that. I'm hoping this is almost like somewhat of a wake-up call. Like today, the Braves blew a 10-4 lead in the 9th inning. That's bad. That's embarrassing. That is 100% their wake-up call down there. I'm hoping a 9-1 loss and that 17-7 loss. Maybe now it can be the wake-up call going in against the Pirates to say, all right, let's get this back on track here.
I like the optimism. At this point, if this group hasn't found their wake-up call yet, and I'm looking at the totality, not just this season, but this group, there's been a lot of the same. If they're still searching for a wake-up call, then it's just not the right core. It's just not the right core. And I know it's season by season and things change each year and this and that, but, if we need Bryce, Turner, Kyle, Wheeler, Nola, and these guys to collectively come together and try and really find a spark to get this in the right spot and turn the page. That probably should have happened years ago with this group, don't you think?
It should have happened last year after the All-Star break when they were just fluttering into the playoffs. Like, The wake-up call should have happened then. I will never forget after being eliminated by the Mets when JT said, we were just hoping that we'd get hot. We were just hoping that we'd find it again. That was their strategy. So that might still be their strategy right now is that, this will pass. We'll have a game where we'll all be clicking together and then we'll be, soaring from there. But that may not roll around. I mean, Marsh has looked, I think, the worst he's ever looked. Kepler doesn't look good at all. Rojas doesn't look that good. JT, I mean, even before he got hit last night, he hasn't been that great of an at-bat. Bohm has had issues. Trey's looking better, but he still has issues. There's so much going on this year where it almost feels like my optimism there was purely just me hoping. That wasn't how I really feel. How this team looks right now is very concerning to me, and it could go one of two ways. It can completely bounce back, or they could completely fall off and just really struggle to make a wild card spot. If I had to pick one right now, I'd probably say struggle to get a wild card spot.
See, as much as I'm ripping them to shreds and all this, it's one of those things where they're going to be fine throughout the regular season because there's enough of Washington, Miami, even the Braves are horrible this year. You're facing the Pirates next. They can beat those teams, and they will. They will,
but I mean, Luzardo, if he was already labeled as a guy who may not be able to give you all the innings that you want, and he may start to come back down to earth by July or August, and we're already seeing that early June, that's a major issue. Is Nola going to come back and be even half decent? I don't know. Is Ranger going to have the same issues that he had last year? I don't know. So then we're sitting here with Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez. And then if Andrew Painter comes up, how's he going to be? So before the season, I'm not saying that they're going to be, a 70-win team. I still have them at, I think, 90 wins. I'm still feeling good about them getting 90 wins and being a wild card team. But the fact is, the NL is good, and there's going to be a lot of teams right around that 90-win mark. So, I don't know. It's tough to be optimistic right now with everything going on and everything that still could happen.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think the starting pitching is, as much as I'm worried about the bullpen, I'm worried about the right-handed bat, I'm worried about the center field, left field situation, I'm worried about Trey defensively. Every time a ground ball's hit his way, I cringe. I'm worried about a lot of things here. Now, one of the strengths that you can lean on is really becoming a question mark. It really is. With this starting rotation as currently standing today, Wheeler and Ranger are the two knots that I have faith in. Now, I'm a Nola guy, and I think he'll be healthy he'll be good when he does return and is healthy. But I'm saying as of today, he keeps having these setbacks and these problems. Now, there's a part of me that I'm not happy that that's happening, but to this Luzardo point, they are confused on why it's happening with Luzardo. At least with Nola, we have an answer. And the fact that this is somewhat costing him as much time as it is already, then there's probably a real correlation on why he was struggling so badly and why he's now missing a lot of time. So when he does get right and he does feel physically good again, we'll get the Aaron Nola of the norm. Now, some of you may be thinking that's gross, but not me, because I've seen him dominate.